Let's make a traditional pan sauce. In order to make a pan sauce, you need to make sure that you first have some flavor developed in your pan, which are the souks or the fond. Now, how do you develop that? The easiest way to develop that is with a piece of animal protein that you have seasoned first and then sauteed. And then from there, you get kind of those little bits on the bottom of your pan, and from there you can make your pan sauce. Now, let's say that you are vegetarian and you don't eat meat. Can you create a pan sauce without having animal protein? Yes, you can, but it will not have as much of that rich complexity of flavor. So just letting you know ahead of time. So what I've done is I've just seasoned a chicken breast with salt and pepper, and I have my pan on medium-high heat, and I'm just getting as much of a golden brown caramelization on this chicken breast as possible. Now, for all of you, you will be given a piece of protein so that you can do this same thing that I'm doing this week as well. And making an identical pan sauce. So make sure that you do not try and adjust the piece of meat. Don't try and move it around, because right now it's probably going to stick to the pan. And if it's sticking to the pan, that means that it's not ready to flip over. So once it has released itself from the pan, and you'll know when it does because it will not give you any resistance, then you can flip your chicken. And once you flipped your chicken, you'll be able to see that beautiful color that it gives. So I'm going to check on it and see how although it's released from the pan very easily, I took a look at the color and there we go. You see how beautiful that color is? You want to get that deep golden brown. Anything lighter than that, and you won't be able to get as much flavor. So I want to get color on the other side of the chicken breast as well. And then once I'm finished getting color on both sides, I'm going to place my chicken breast in an oven-safe dish, and then I will bake it in the oven at 350 degrees so that the center can finish cooking. This is the way that you will be cooking your chicken in your final exam. So as you can see, once I remove my chicken breast here, you'll notice that there's something left in the pan. And that's what I'm talking about with the souks or the fond. All of that right there is flavor. So that's similar to if you were to roast a turkey, let's say for Thanksgiving, and then all the pan drippings kind of go to the bottom. All of that is flavor right there. And so we want to utilize it as much as possible. We don't want to throw it out. So we will try our best to coax out as much of that flavor, building it upon this foundation first. And that's how a pan sauce is achieved. So what we're going to do is add in some aromatics. And aromatics for us, it's just going to be some chopped onion. So we're going to add in some chopped onion, but it's going to be on a lower heat so that the onions don't burn. So after I added my onions, all I want to do is sweat them just a little bit. I don't want to get too much color. And then I'm going to add in my white wine. So for all of you, because you are utilizing wine, I wanted to ensure that it's a safe way to cook this sauce in your setting. And so we're going to be using either non-alcoholic wine today, or you can also purchase your own wine and have that as well. Now, if we were actually in class on campus, then we would be using proper white wine for this. So a reason what I did just there is I added the wine, and this is called deglazing. So deglazing is you're adding a liquid in, typically it's some sort of an acid like wine, and you're kind of getting all of that flavor, the souks or the fond, and it's lifting all of those particles off of the pan. And so you'll be able to kind of give it a little scrape or a little stir, and you'll see all of that kind of color permeate through whatever liquid you have just added. So if you don't want any alcohol, you can absolutely just put stock, and you can deglaze with stock as well, and that's fine, but you won't have as much complexity of flavor in the finished product. So what I'm doing here is I'm letting this reduce, and I'm letting this reduce to almost dry, and that is called au sec. And so that is a French term that we use, and we want to get it so that it's almost dry, and therefore the flavor has intensified before we add in our next ingredient, which is going to be our stock. So now that we are at the au sec stage, we're going to add in our stock. So now we're adding our stock, and we're going to go through the process again of reduction. Now this adding liquid and reducing, and adding liquid and reducing, remember what it's doing. It is concentrating that flavor. So again, we are building that flavor in little increments, and then it will result in a very flavorful item at the end. So for our stock, we're actually reducing it by half, which is what we call demi-sec. So after we've reduced it by half, we want to go ahead and add in some cold cubes of butter. And this is really what makes the sauce super complex, also velvety, and when you're doing that contrast in temperature, you're giving also the sauce the viscosity, so that nappe consistency. So we're going to do that. We're stirring the whole time. I have the sauce on a low heat, medium-low heat, and we're also going to be adding some heavy cream to this too. So I didn't say that the pan sauce was going to be healthy, but I did say that it's going to be very flavorful. And you'll see that at the end we pair it with our cooked and cooled and sliced chicken. So I've added in some of that butter, and you see how the sauce is kind of changing a little bit, but it's still on the watery side, and therefore we need to add our cream. And once we've added our cream and then also let that reduce demi-sec by half, we're going to achieve that nappe consistency that we're looking for. Once we've achieved the nappe consistency, then we can season our sauce. And once we can season our sauce, then, oh boy, we can enjoy it. Now our sauce is ready. So what I'm doing is I'm checking for that nappe consistency. There it is. And you see how it has thickened quite a bit, and that's from the addition of the heavy cream at the end. So let's plate this up. I have my sliced chicken, and I want to ensure that the sauce is velvety. I have seasoned it as well. I know you didn't see that, but I went ahead and seasoned it off camera so you can kind of, imagine in your mind what that would look like. You've seen me season a lot of things already, so. Now, if you wanted to do a very kind of bare bones version of this sauce, you could definitely strain out those onions. However, I think that they give a wonderful addition to the sauce, and they taste great. So hope you enjoy, hope you are able to practice this pan sauce, and know that you can utilize it for a lot of different things. Good luck!